आज मॉम का मंगल से मिलन हो गया।
Vikram lander descent was as planned and normal performance was observed up to an altitude of 2.1 kilometer. Subsequently, the communications from the lander to ground station was lost. The data is being analyzed.
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
Now, Russia's first lunar mission in nearly 50 years has ended in failure after its spacecraft crashed into the moon.
स्क्रीन पे देख सकते हैं कि हम
Sir, we have achieved soft landing on the moon. India is on the moon.
In its maiden solar mission, the Indian Space Agency ISRO successfully completed the second earthbound maneuver of Aditya L1 spacecraft.
Space is a war-fighting domain. The United States Space Force will ensure that our nation is prepared.
Hi everyone. In the past 10 years, we have seen some of the most sensational space events in the world. Elon Musk has been launching rockets one after other. Jeff Bezos has started Blue Origin. Virgin Galactic has running by the Richard Branson and Rocket Lab has founder by Peter Beck and make its first launch in 2023 and the big players are entering into space. India has successfully landed on the south region of the moon. Russia Luna 25 is failed in the final orbit. US is about to launch its first human mission to the lunar South Pole in 2025 and even China, Japan, you are preparing for the same. But while most people might think this to be yet another exploration or waste of time, but very few people realize that it has a geopolitical angle to it and become most powerful nation in the world if we capture the space. Did you know that NATO has declared space? NATO declared space as one of the war-fighting domains in the future and was declared in November 2019. So do you realize what's happening? Over here, space is literally turning into a frontier of warfare. So all this drama is not just for scientific discovery, but also about having that extra advantage during the times of war. So the space has a most significant geopolitical implication in the 21st century. So the question is, how did space become a focal point of geopolitical influence? What are the key locations or strategic assets in space that various countries are vying to control? Which critical locations in space are the world's superpowers competing to reach? What is the importance of missions to the Moon, Mars, Sun, and other planets? Where does India's position stand in relative to these missions? Is India in safe position in space? Let's start. Before we delve into the details, let's start with the basics, the history of space exploration. This story commenced shortly after World War II during the US-USSR Cold War, spanning from the end of World War II in 1945 until the Soviet Union dissolved in 1991. In historical context, it's worth noting that some technological advancements, including developments in rocketry, emerged during World War II, partly driven by Nazi Germany's wartime efforts. While the primary focus during that period was on military applications, these technological strides also laid groundwork for future space exploration. After the war, scientists who had been involved in these developments made substantial contributions to the early space efforts of both the United States and the Soviet Union, playing pivotal roles in the development of satellites and space programs. This was a time when both the United States and the Soviet Union were engaged in a fierce competition to demonstrate their superiority, and one of the many arenas for this rivalry was the space race.
Then all the rocket power gone, but tremendous force has been built up, and the satellite is pushed off on its own at a speed of 18,000 miles an hour.
From the Soviet Union
Should commit itself to achieving the goal before this decade is out of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the Earth.
And on October 4, 1957, the USSR achieved a major milestone by successfully launching Sputnik 1, the world's first artificial satellite. In the same year, USSR sent first animal into the space. Then, in 1961, the USSR made history again by sending the first human, Yuri Gagarin, into space. These achievements made waves worldwide, leaving people amazed and concerned. In the United States, both the media and political leaders felt deep unease. They worried that this intense space competition could lead to a dangerous future conflict. So, the United States saw the USSR success in space as a major threat. To counter it, in 1969, they did something incredible. They sent astronauts Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins to the moon. This event marked the start of what we know as the space race. Surprisingly, the space race wasn't just about groundbreaking discoveries or science. It was, in many ways, a political showcase. After this era, the USSR broke apart into several independent states, including modern-day Russia, effectively ending the Cold War. In this time, several nations were starting to explore the space. In 1965, France set its sights on the stars with the establishment of the Centre National d'Études Spatiales (CNES). Germany joined the race in 1969 with the formation of the Deutsche Zentrum für Luft- und Raumfahrt (TLLR). Japan embarked on its space exploration journey in 1970, proudly represented by the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency (AEGXAA). China, rapidly emerging as a space powerhouse, officially entered the race in 1970 through the China National Space Administration (NSA). In 1975, India joined the ranks, launching its ambitious space missions under the banner of the Indian Space Research Organisation (ISRO), which was later renamed the Indian Space Research Organisation and the Indian National Committee for Space Research (KOSPAR) in 1969. Pakistan, eager to explore the cosmos, entered the arena in 1990 with the establishment of the Space Upper Atmosphere Research Commission (SARCO), which was actually founded in 1962. These nations contributed to the global space exploration endeavors, one after the other. However, as the Cold War came to an end, the United States realized the increasing importance of space. Historically, from the 1800s to the 1900s, warfare had evolved. It transitioned from territorial land disputes to naval dominance, where the British and the French sought to capture the world through their mastery of the seas. This was followed by the era of air warfare during both world wars. However, the evolution didn't stop there. In the modern age, two new frontiers of war emerged: the realm of cyberspace, where information and technology became battlegrounds, and outer space, the final frontier. The United States recognized the potential strategic advantage of mastering space, much like the earlier exploiters of the oceans and air, to gain an upper hand in future conflicts. Thus, while all the NATO nations are preparing silently, the United States launched the world's first independent dedicated space force in the year of 2019. France changed the name of its Air Force to Air and Space Force, and while Russia combined its Air Force anti-air and anti-missile defenses into the Aerospace Forces in 2015 itself. On the same year, 2015, China established the People's Liberation Army Strategic Support Force, which is responsible for space, electronic warfare, and cyber warfare. And India is also in the race. In 2019, India established the Space Defense Agency (ADE) to develop and coordinate the country's space-based military capabilities. India has decided its space program in its military while starting the INCOSPAR in 1962. In the exploration of Mars, various missions from around the world have made their mark with unique goals and budgets. If we look in the graph, NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter led with $671 million, followed by the European Space Agency's ExoMars Trace Gas Orbiter and Mars Express, with budgets of $1.2 billion and $376 million LP, respectively. China's Tianwen-1 mission entered the scene with an investment of $2.2 billion, while NASA's Perseverance rover carried a budget of $2.7 billion. The United Arab Emirates achieved Mars exploration with the Hope mission, managed on a budget of $200 million. ESA's Rosalind Franklin mission aimed at $1.5 billion. Remarkably, India's Mars Orbiter mission made history with a budget of just $80 million, demonstrating impressive cost efficiency. And also, we look into another side. while national agencies are carried out the space exploration with huge budgets. SpaceX is developing its reusable rockets to reduce its cost. And also, we look into another side. While national agencies are carried out the space exploration with huge budgets, SpaceX is developing its reusable rockets to reduce its cost. If we examine the graph, we can see a significant drop in NASA's budget after the moon landing. However, what's truly remarkable is that, despite this drop, NASA's budget continued to grow over time. This indicates NASA's enduring commitment to space exploration. But it's not just NASA. Many countries worldwide have dedicated decades to their space projects. What might astonish you is the fact that space travel has become remarkably affordable in recent times, with two main reasons. One, India is launching its interplanetary missions very dead cheap cost. If we look into the graph, the cost of the Mars orbit mission is 480 crore, $80 million. That is even cheap of interstellar movie. The total cost of the movie is $165 million. Even that budget ISRO have sent Chandrayaan-3 with orbiter and rover to the moon's south pole. If we send rocket into the space, the most of the money is allocated to the fuel. More than the entire equipment, it would be cost of more than 50. But how did India send very low cost to Mars? The answer lies with our genius scientist by giving the method called slingshot method. I will explain in a simple way. To use a gravity assist to get to the moon, a spacecraft would first need to be launched into orbit around Earth. Once in orbit, the spacecraft would then need to be carefully maneuvered so that it passes close to Earth in the correct direction. If the spacecraft passed in front of Earth, it would receive a boost in speed. If the spacecraft passed behind Earth, it would slow down. The spacecraft's trajectory would need to be carefully calculated so that it received the desired boost. The spacecraft would also need to be maneuvered so that it did not get too close to Earth. Once the spacecraft had received a boost from Earth's gravity, it would be on its way to the moon. The spacecraft would then need to be maneuvered so that it entered a lunar orbit. This would require the spacecraft to fire its engines to slow down and match the moon's orbital speed. The gravity assist is a very efficient way to get to the moon. And second main reason is it comes from the Elon Musk company called SpaceX. SpaceX has mastered at these 4 points: reusability, innovative manufacturing, vertical integration, fixed price contracts. First one is reusability. SpaceX rockets are designed to be reused, which saves a significant amount of money on the cost of each launch. The Falcon 9 first stage booster has been successfully reused up to 10 times, and the company is working on making the entire rocket reusable. And second is innovative manufacturing. SpaceX uses innovative manufacturing techniques to reduce the cost of its rockets. For example, the company uses 3D printing to create some of its parts, which saves time and money. And third is vertical integration. SpaceX integrates all aspects of its rocket production, from design to manufacturing to launch. This allows the company to control costs and quality more effectively. In recent years, efforts to reduce space travel costs have paid off significantly. Back in 1965, launching a kilogram of payload into low Earth orbit cost a staggering $8,200. However, SpaceX's innovations have slashed this cost to just $1,500 per kilogram with the Falcon Heavy, triggering a surge of interest and competition in space exploration. To compare SpaceX and ISRO, SpaceX's Falcon 9 with a 22.8-ton payload capacity costs 1520 rupees per kilogram, totaling 22,800 rupees to launch 1 kilogram of payload, and boasts a 98% success rate. ISRO's PSLV, with a 1750-ton payload capacity, offers a cost of 800 Indian rupees per kilogram, resulting in a total of 140,000 rupees to launch 1 kilogram of payload with a commendable 90% success rate. Space control in the 21st century revolves around satellite launch and management. Satellites are pivotal in modern life, with their strategic placement across low Earth orbit, medium Earth orbit, and geostationary orbit. EO, the closest to Earth, serves for high-resolution imagery and low-latency data, crucial for Earth observation and high-speed internet via satellites like Starlink. MEO spanning 2,000 to 35,786 kilometers above Earth offers extensive coverage and precise positioning data, hosting systems like GPS, GLONASS, Galileo, and India's Navig GEO located at precisely 35,786 kilometers above Earth. Allows satellites to match Earth's rotation, ideal for long-term monitoring and widely used in communication, internet services, and surveillance. These orbital zones are central to space control, influencing communication, internet access, and surveillance. Mastery of these orbital positions propels countries ahead in the 21st century space race, enhancing their influence and capabilities in space-related endeavors. Mars is the closest planet from the Earth and only planet which is suitable to live, and it gives 5 reasons. 1. Potential for life. Mars might have conditions suitable for past or present life. Discovering life beyond Earth would be a groundbreaking scientific achievement. 2. Human colonization. Mars is a candidate for future human colonization, making it a key target for understanding planetary habitability. 3. National prestige. Success in Mars missions enhances a country's global reputation and leadership in space exploration. 4. Economic opportunities. The space industry has economic potential, including resource utilization and space tourism. 5. International collaboration. Joint missions promote international cooperation and diplomacy in space exploration. And coming up to the Moon. Moon has 3 major features. The Moon holds 3 vital resources that could transform geopolitics. 1. Water ice. Found particularly at the Moon's south pole, water ice can be converted into hydrogen and oxygen, essential for breathing and rocket fuel. The first nation to effectively harness lunar water will have a crucial resource for deep space exploration. 2. Helium-3. This rare isotope, scarce on Earth, has applications in cryogenics, quantum computing, and clean fusion energy production. The Moon is the most abundant source of helium-3. Mastering its extraction could revolutionize energy generation. 3. Rare Earth elements. Although not more abundant on the Moon than Earth, these elements are more accessible on the lunar surface. They are critical for modern technologies, including electronics, renewable energy, and advanced defense systems. And final question is India is in safe position. The answer is very difficult to say. Why? Because I have taken the data from the Statista. In the year of 2021 and 2022, several countries allocated budgets for space exploration. The United States led with budgets of $54.59 billion, 97 cents billion, while China followed with $10.229 billion and $11.94 billion. Other key players included Japan with $4.21 billion and $4.90 billion. France with $3.95 billion and $4.20 billion, Russia with $3.57 billion and $3.42 billion, the European Union with $2.57 billion and $2.60 billion, Germany with $2.38 billion and $2.53 billion, and India with $1.96 billion and $1.93 billion. Despite its relatively lower budget, India has made significant strides in space exploration. The budget of ISRO is 60 times more than NASA. Here somebody will tell us, budget doesn't matter for the ISRO. They are doing the miracles with a less amount of the budget right. But problem, other countries are spending 5 times, 10 times, 45 times, and 60 times of the budget. If they cracked the low-cost space travel with proper R&D, it is very super easy for them to launch multiple vehicles. They can launch more sophisticated equipment than the ISRO. That time, ISRO is in danger's position. The government's objective is to establish the most cost-effective means of accessing space, which requires extensive research and development in collaboration with private space companies. These companies are rapidly expanding and seek substantial support from the Indian government. Additionally, it's crucial to examine government policies that position India to assert itself in the 21st century space race. This encapsulates the historical context, significance, and geopolitical dynamics of this contemporary space exploration era. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey through this video. I hope you found the insights thought-provoking. If you enjoyed the content, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more captivating videos. Together, let's shape a brighter future. Stay informed, engaged, and be a catalyst for change. Your support motivates us to continue delivering informative and inspiring content. Thank you for being a part of our community. Stay curious and keep expanding your knowledge. See you in the next video.